you call me up in 3 years and say, Bogdan, holy crap, this thing just happened. My life is totally different right now. I'm living my best life. It's incredible. What does that look like for you?
So I have this vision of talking on stages and selling a book.
Mm.
That's my big vision.
Welcome to Stories from Your Future Self. Unlike most podcasts who just interview high performers, on this podcast, I create deep, powerful breakthroughs for my guests in 15 minutes or less. We amplify their confidence, their revenue, their results, and get them closer to their big dreams. I'm Bogdan, and my clients call me the fastest coach in the world, partially because of my martial arts background, but mainly because I see what most people miss. And I do in minutes what most business or mindset coaches do in months. Now let's dive in because these insights will help you with your own personal breakthrough, getting you closer to your dreams.
We are here with Rhiannon Franz. I am very, very excited because she is the founder of RhiVive Marketing.
RhiVive.
There we go. A marketing agency that has been helping brands find their voice and scale for over 20 years. Her passion is guiding entrepreneurs and business owners through mindset shifts that unlock new levels of success. Go figure. That's my passion too. And right now, she's focused on taking her agency to the next level of evolution by expanding beyond traditional marketing to help brands build deeper, more authentic connections with their audiences. Beautiful. Rhiannon, before we dive into unlocking this new level for you, tell us a bit more about yourself. How did you start?
So I have a long background in corporate. I've worked at the top ad agencies in New York, LA, Detroit, on the big auto, entertainment, CPG accounts. I
Mhm.
specifically worked in paid ads, so strategy, media buying, media negotiating for, hundreds of millions of dollars for clients. And
Nice.
I did that for 20 years. I've done buying, I've done ad sales, and like freelancing consulting. And I've taken all of that, and through the pandemic of what I call the great reevaluation, where everyone has a pandemic story, something that, shifted or changed. And for me, that was becoming a mom. And it was a struggle less of a time. And, being a new parent, but also doing it on your own and deciding that I needed to shift also my career. And so deciding to go off on my own, build my own agency, and help people, professionals, and I say ex corporate badasses who are trying to do what I did
Mhm.
and provide services. It's a different mindset shift to go from corporate to go to being an entrepreneur. And so I help people build their brand, build their packages, and get visible.
Beautiful, beautiful. And then what you're saying, I'm a new daddy too. Our 3-month old is yeah, we have become the slaves of this small bit of human being. Yeah. Um, so congrats for doing that. It's tough, especially like a single mom. I can't even imagine what
Oh
that's
yeah,
like.
no, luckily it's the two of us, me and my husband, but during the pandemic, no one could come over. No one could
Oh,
come help.
right, right,
No one
right.
could. It was just the three of us for the first 9 months of his life coming home from the
Yeah.
hospital. So,
Boy or
um,
girl?
a little boy.
Beautiful. Congrats.
Yeah,
Congrats.
thank you.
You know, I absolutely like the people I love coaching the most have always been marketers. And the beauty is, like as a marketer, you know how to market, you know how to sell, like you have so much experience, not just, with all of these accounts. So it's very, very, very rarely a strategy issue of how do I reach the next level. You already know how. And it's almost always something inside, right? But let's have a more of an expansive conversation, right? Let's say you call me up in 3 years and say, Bogdan, holy crap, this thing just happened. My life is totally different right now. I'm living my best life. It's incredible. what does that look like for you?
So I have this vision of talking on stages and selling a book.
Mm,
That's my big vision. I have a background, my undergrad is in communications. I went back to school, got a master's degree in communications. I My first public speaking class in undergrad was the first time I got an A in college. I was like, what is this? What is this class? It turned out that I figured out years later, I sort of stumbled into going to Texas A&M. I'm a Texas girl, grew up in Texas. It was UT my whole life. I wanted to go to UT. And my senior year, I just fell in love with A&M. I walked around the campus. It felt very much like home. And
mhm,
turned out, I went there for engineering. It turned out to be one of the top communication schools in the country. I didn't know that, and ended up falling into going to a communications class, taking a public speaking class, and being like, this is it. I don't know what this
mhm,
is, but this is what I want to do. So, having this background in communications, having this ability, learning now to that public speaking is a fear of like 90% of humans or something. It's like this
right.
astounding number.
Mhm,
And like I thrive off of it. It's that balance of fear and excitement, right? So it's like a little bit of both. And it's something that I've always known about myself, that I can
mhm,
push through that fear, get in front of people, and I find a thrill in it. So
mhm.
speaking on stages, and I've always had
Beautiful.
the idea I'm going to write a book. So
You know, this conversation is extremely synchronistic because I'm in the process of translating my book from Romanian to English. And one of the first thing I say in my book is like the fear of like managing fear and how more people are afraid of public speaking than dying. So like when you have a funeral, most people would rather be in the coffin than be the person, you know, holding the eulogy,
right.
which is crazy. But let's just say you're on this huge stage, right? You're speaking in this arena. Everybody's hanging on each of your words, right? What is the message that you're sharing? What what do people know you for?
That's an interesting question, because it's something I'm working through right now as far
Hmm.
as my business, and specifically finding a niche. That's something in marketing we
Hmm.
talk a lot about, like who's your niche, who are you helping?
Right.
But it's the what do I want to be known for piece. And to me, that is something that I've been evaluating for several years, and it comes from working in corporate for so long, helping these big companies make gobs of money, that already make gobs of money, and
Hmm.
shifting into this business where I'm actually helping people. It's it's so fulfilling to me to see, for example, a client of mine is a dating coach, and she's an older woman. She had a career, she had a corporate, she had this whole like path in front of her, and then realized she wanted to take all this learning and put it online and do an online coaching program to help other people. And I got to help her see herself. Like, we did a photo shoot, we did her hair, we did her makeup, we styled her. And when she saw her photos, she was like, oh my gosh, I look like that. It was a very awesome feeling for me to see her face, see herself. It's like
Right.
seeing herself the way she sees herself in print in front of you, in a camera and in photos, and you're like, oh my gosh, like that's what I look like. Like I look like a badass. And I love seeing that transformation. So I've been able to do that for several clients, and seeing people have that look on their face, having that feeling of empowerment, is truly like a passion of mine now. I
Hmm.
find such joy in helping people see themselves the way that they want to see themselves, and it's a really cool experience.
So what I'm hearing is you're an amplifier. I
Mhm.
mean, you took companies that were making money and you made them a boatload more money, right?
Right. Yeah.
You take people who have a glimpse of their power and you just amplify, you mirror that power back to them, right? And
Yeah.
they can choose what they want to do with that, right? However, it's wise to use because like this is exceptionally common and I'm sure you see this in your clients. You spend 20, 30 years in corporate you start your own consulting business or just a business, and you feel like this complete beginner and you just feel so lost, right? And what usually happens is that you lock up all of these assets that you spent a lifetime to build, you lock them up in a closet, and you're like, why don't people see me? Why don't people see the value? Well, it's simply because you're not using those assets, uh, showing them all the reasons why you are such a badass, right? In my case, I taught martial arts for 6 years. I locked up the martial arts teacher in a closet, and then 2, 3 years in my business, I was like, what the hell am I doing? That guy's a badass. I need him,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So the idea is to bring that version, that asset that you spent 20 years building, and put both hats on instead of
Right.
just, oh, I'm the marketer now, or I'm the consultant now.
Yeah.
I'm the consultant and I'm that person, right? So if you merged both identities, your current one and the person you were in corporate who could easily amplify these businesses, what would she be known for?
Yeah, so I think that's a good question. I just recently pinpointed my niche around ex corporate powerhouse, and I feel like that is me. Like I feel like I'm speaking to an audience that is me, and that helps me bring those two together. Is taking exactly what you're saying. I do have 20 years of corporate experience. This really valuable experience makes me a powerhouse doing these things now for service businesses. And so being known for that and then speaking directly to that audience is where I think the power is going to come, where I think I'll be able to connect with people in a more deep, specific way. And being able to leverage that experience that I have and saying, I know what it's like because I've been there, and that shift, that mindset shift, like when I first learned how to create packages and I could price myself on a package basis, not on an hourly rate,
Hmm.
not as a freelancer, I have to tell you that was a struggle. That took me a long
Right.
time to make that pivot. I was like, no, I can't do that. I can't
Hmm.
charge $10,000 for that. That's crazy. I charge per hour, and that would back into, $6,500. And it's like, no, 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 that's you could just charge 10 grand for it. It's like, wait, what? I mean, what a shift. That was going from corporate mentality to
Hmm.
entrepreneurial packaging and package prices. I was like, get the fuck, excuse me. I was like,
No,
"Are
you
you
can.
kidding me? I can do this." So that shift is exactly what you're saying. It was bringing that corporate expertise, bringing this new business owner perspective and being like, I can help people do this. Like, this is really powerful. It's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly right. Exactly right.
So, what would you need to be on these big stages and finish your book or start your book?
Start my book. Well, for being on stages, I'm doing the work of I rejoined Toastmasters. I don't know if you've
Hmm.
heard of it or have it where you
Yeah.
are, but it's a global brand. I did it for a year, pretty much out of the pandemic, just to get myself back to talking, getting myself back to connecting with
Hmm.
people, and life got busy, things got busy with the kid, and I kind of took a step back for the last like 9 months or so. And I just decided, you know what, it's what I need. I need to go
Hmm.
practice every week. I need to go be in a room of people where I stand up and I talk and pushing myself to practice, right? Practice and practice. It's, what are they? It's the act of practice, right? Makes us better, the 10,000 hours.
Right.
So that's an action. That's an action I can take to tactically do it. It's also carving out time, right? To say, okay, I'm going to tweak my keynote. I'm going to work on my keynote a little bit today. I'm going to do this. And then getting myself scheduled on stages. So
Hmm.
booking myself on, I'm reaching out to my local chamber of commerce, for example, because here we do, you know, monthly meetups where I could do a lunch and learn and I can educate local businesses on marketing. So there's different ways I can do small stages and get myself
Hmm.
more visible. It's just, it's like, am I ready? is my keynote just right? It's my own fears and overcoming that and being like, just book it, and
Yeah.
then you will be ready when it's time.
So let's say right now somebody finds you online and they say, "Hey, you know what? I have this event with 10,000 people attending. I want you to speak at this event," right? What would be the first thought that you have like inside of your mind, like aside for, "Oh my God, this is amazing." Like what's the crippling fear that shows up?
Yeah, it would definitely be an oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it would definitely be like, oh my God, am I ready for that?
Mm-hmm.
And the truth is that I it would be like I just do. That's just sort of my, I guess, superpower
Yeah.
is I've always been sort of put in these, different situations, and I just like turn on, like I have this
Right.
switch. Um, but yeah, it would definitely be a fear of like, oh my God, 10,000. Damn. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Exactly. Right. So what would you need to believe about yourself to feel very calm, to feel like a fish in water when you walk up on this stage?
More practice. And maybe that's a fallback, but I feel like as I
Uh-huh.
practice it more in front of
Uh-huh.
people, smaller groups,
Right.
and it starts to roll off my tongue faster, then I get more and more confident. And I've
But what if
I've
you,
experienced
what
that.
if you're not allowed to have a keynote? You're not allowed to prepare anything.
Oh, that's a different idea. Um, I can talk. I can come
Mm-hmm.
up with.
Mm-hmm.
I've done enough speaking to know the fundamentals of being able to, on the
Right.
fly, come up with
So
something to say.
here's what I'm tuning into, and correct me if
Okay.
I'm wrong, right?
Okay.
I don't think it has anything to do with your ability to speak. Like you said, you fell in love with this
Yeah.
a while back, right? You know that this is your thing. I think it has a lot to do with kind of you finding your footing in this business and really defining the niche, and also like the key person of influence, for lack of a better word, positioning for you. That's like, oh my God, this person is my jam. I feel like that's where kind of you're in the process of refining, and then once you've identified that and it's like super clear for you, then it's game on, right? I'm this person who does X, and like nobody can tell me otherwise, or nobody can challenge me on that because I
Yeah,
have a level of mastery in this.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. So my kind of interesting story was that last night I went to a book signing event for
Hmm.
this book that's coming out, How to Menopause. I'm in perimenopause, 43 years old. It's like crazy that I have to be struggling with this issue, and it's like
Right.
all women will go through this at some point. So I went to this event, and at the event was this actress. Her name is Constance Zimmer, and she is like a badass. Like if you've watched Entourage, she's a badass. She's in this other series called Unreal. She's a badass. And I went up to her. I just said, I'm a big fan. And then after the event, I got a little another chance to kind of talk to her, and I said, I just want you to know that when I'm trying to channel like a badass, I literally think of you. Like you're my
Mm.
you're my person. You're my
Yeah.
visual of a badass woman. And she was so sweet. She was like keep doing it, keep like and I said, you play it so well. And she's like, oh, thank you. It was such a nice exchange, and like how fucking cool that I got to actually meet this person.
Right.
And that I pushed myself to go talk to her. But she is that person. She is that, like, that character that she has played like over and over. Like, oh my God, I can literally look at her and go like, yes, like that. That's
Hmm.
my badass that I can visualize.
Beautiful. And in terms of like your mastery statement, is that a bit more clear, or does that need to be a bit more refined? Like if let's say you walk on stage and you say, "Hey, I'm Rhiannon, I do X for Y." What would that look like?
Yeah, that definitely is still a little stumbling for me.
Mm-hmm.
I recognized that again last night as somebody was asking
Yep.
me, and I was like, shit, I gotta get better at that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So
um,
what would you say is your superpower? Like marketing, great. What else is your absolute superpower? Like what allowed you to get so good at marketing and create these results for these companies?
I have an ability to get inside the head of the audience. It's
Hmm.
a unique ability to see people,
Hmm.
uh, and to see what their audience wants. So
Right.
in advertising for, 20 years on in the media side, my number one job was to find audiences. Where are they? So I would put on the hat, and I usually like do this. I would put on a hat of a gamer when I worked in gaming. Okay, I am not a
Hmm.
gamer. That is not me. But I'm having to market to gamers. So I'm going to put on a first person shooter gamer hat. What do I do? Who am I? What do I like to do? What are my fears, frustrations, needs, wants? How do I get into that head of this first person shooter gamer, and
Right.
where do I go find them? And so I can do that like, very fast. It's
Hmm.
that is definitely a superpower of mine. So doing that for other people, I can see them, I can see what they want to project, and then I can
Hmm.
see their audience and say, okay, how do we talk to that audience? I think,
Perfect.
yeah.
Perfect. So, in terms of your niche, 10 years
Yep.
from now, who would you be as passionate to work with as right now, or even more passionate to work with? Which profession?
I'm really digging this ex corporate service providers. So I think
Hmm.
that people who come from corporate, look,
Hmm.
we're going through the white collar recession. We're going through a mass exodus, layoffs, rounds of layoffs. Our economy is changing, and I'm
Yeah.
projecting the project economy. I think we're going to be moving into this era of having to
Hmm.
sell our professional services on a package level versus being hired as like a freelancer. You're just trading time for dollars. You're getting paid an hourly rate for no health insurance. Like
Yeah.
packaging and servicing, packaging and pricing, I think I know there's something there. That's where I see a book. That's where I see a tour. That's where I see like future conversations around this new economy.
Perfect. Perfect. So, like refining this statement, the X for Y statement, and making something like really unique that stands out, that's remarkable, right?
Mhm.
Somebody that can make a remark about it, Seth Godin's, golden principle. This takes a bit of time, takes a bit of brainstorming. But I would like to challenge you to do just that, right? So for like X corporate, or actually if we were to kind of tap into that, let's say you were your own client right now, right? So let's kind of get out of Rhiannon for a moment. Let's do a bit of channeling. Mm? And for a moment, let's say you stepped out of yourself and you were completely objective. What would be a great statement about her that she could use on the biggest stages that would immediately capture the hearts and minds of not just her target audience, but millions of people?
That's good. I think it would lean into my
Her,
superpower of being
her.
very, huh?
Don't come back into your body. Step
Okay.
out.
Okay. All right. So she is ultra caring, and she wears her heart on her sleeve, and she can see people for like things that they don't see about themselves.
Right. And what would be the statement, right?
She helps ex-corporate badasses step into their power.
And something with her marketing, right? It should include the asset.
Right. Uh, and believe the value that they offer.
Hmm. What's the
Hard to
outcome?
tell
What do they
you.
want, right?
What's that?
What do they want? They want badass clients, right?
Yes.
These corporate service providers, right? They
Mhm.
want amazing clients, but their marketing sucks. And they feel like complete beginners. They feel lost. They feel like they're thinking of going back to corporate, but it's maybe a bit too late. Maybe they're a bit late in life, they're like, oh, who's gonna hire me for that? They're terrified, right? They feel like they made the biggest mistakes of their lives by choosing this career. So addressing that, right? Like something along the lines of, um, I I I help ex-corporate service providers build businesses that are more successful than their corporate careers, something like that. It takes a bit of workshopping, but it needs to include your marketing background, right? The fact that they want clients, like, and some sort of element of empowerment of seeing them truly. But that can be like further down the line. It needs to have something that instantly grabs the right people's attention. And like, okay, this is interesting. I do want more clients. I do feel that way. And it's like, hey, you know what? Marketing's part of it, but you also need to show up as a badass. And then sharing these stories of, hey, exactly what you shared. I met this person they really look up to, and that's what I channel when I want to feel like a badass, and like diving deeper into that, right? But I think once you have the hell yes statement,
Yeah.
there's nothing stopping you from starting the book, from getting on bigger stages. Because let's be real, you don't need a warm up to speak in public, right?
Yeah, going back to the statement. So on my website, it says, "You're not just experienced, you're an ex-corporate powerhouse. It's time to cash in and own your future."
Mm, not bad, not
Thanks.
bad. It needs a bit of a pain element to it,
Mm, okay.
right? Because pain moves you faster than pleasure. So it's like, yes, I feel so good. I'm such a corporate powerhouse. I do deserve that, right? But okay, but what's the reality of your situation right now? Right?
Yeah.
Why do you actually need help, right? So a bit of problem awareness
Hmm,
there, sprinkled in. I think it's something fun.
great. I appreciate that.
Yeah, beautiful. What would you say was your biggest insight from our conversation today?
I would say it's challenging to think of this future self, right? Visioning her and
Mm-hmm.
stepping into it. It's like I think about it like all the time, but saying it out loud. Coaching with somebody. I tell
Yeah.
everyone that will listen that I am now a firm believer that everyone needs a therapist and a business coach. There is like, you got to do the therapy work, and then to level up, you got to have a coach. So I love knowing coaches, working with coaches, referring with coaches, and it's definitely a game changer to push yourself out of your comfort zone and speak it out loud with somebody. So
Yeah.
I appreciate that, and I agree with that. That visioning that and saying it out is it's hard.
It takes a lot of guts to be on a show like this, so I can only commend you.
Thanks.
Beautiful. Rhiannon, I think you have a really cool gift for our audience, right? Tell us a bit more.
So I have a cash out blueprint, and it's a way to think about your services and create packages that are profitable. And yeah, you can cash in and make bank.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Now, before we wrap up, may I challenge you?
Yes, bring it.
Perfect. I would like for you to start the first chapter of your book
Oh,
and to finish the first chapter by the end of the month,
oh,
right? When I decided to write my book, I texted my parents like, this is the day I decided to write my book. Wrote the first chapter, then left the book alone for like 6 months. And then I went to this event where the guy that we went to the same book writing event. The guy had finished his book and now was selling the book. I got so pissed off. I messaged my parents. This is the day I decided to finish my book. And a
that's
month later, it was done. But you have to start, right? So, would you like to accept this challenge? I know, right?
yeah. Um, I can't yet. I can't yet. I have so many things on my plate. I have so much to juggle and being a mom. And so that's part of the power is to say no
Hmm.
and to say this is on my plan, but I'm focusing on speaking first with this little amount of time that I have.
May I challenge you to write the first page and just
Dude, no
leave
way.
it
That's
there?
like the hardest. Writing a page of it. So to yes and yours
Hmm.
is my blog writing. So I write a blog probably every other week, maybe every three
Hmm.
weeks. And I'm using that with the idea this will go in my book someday. So I have roughly 20-ish blogs that, and I would say more like five of them are really honing in on this direction
Hmm.
I want to go.
Hmm.
So I will yes and you to say my blog writing is in the
Is the
direction
book.
I want to go. Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. Then
Yeah.
that covers it.
Great. Amazing.
Beautiful. Guys, I will link Rhiannon's contact details below in the description. Check her out, especially if you're an ex-corporate and you're struggling with marketing, with sales. Reach out to her, check out her blueprint, and who knows, maybe we'll check back in a few months and see how things are going.
Thank you.
Beautiful. You're very welcome. Thank you for tuning in. And if you'd like to be featured on the show and experience your own transformational, powerful breakthrough, apply through the link in the description. And I'll see you soon.